I see all of you in the squares that we have become so accustomed to seeing each other as in the midst of a pandemic. I want to just give us a few housekeeping rules because you guys and ladies, we have a full house this evening. And so with that being said, it is going to require us to just listen to instructions. Let's listen to the presentations that we have today, not a physical presentation, but the conversation that we will be having around RETOOLNC. Let's keep yourselves muted. If you are driving, please turn your videos off. We want you to proceed with caution. If you can hear us, that will suffice. It also eliminates background and distractions. So please, if you're moving around the house or moving around your office, just turn your videos off. No harm intended, we get it. And we will still be able to continue in our program this evening. We will use the chat feature. For those of you that are in front of your systems, we will use the chat feature to ask any questions at the end of the presentation. I'm sure we will not be able to answer all the questions. No worries. We will come back to you. Our team is prepared. If you have not already received and you are a certified vendor, you have received some of the items that we will be talking about this evening. If not, we have consultants on board that will help you walk through the process. So no worries, we're gonna have a great evening. We're gonna share some really good information, and I think you all will be extremely pleased with where we end up. I want to just share just a tidbit. If you do not always attend Zoom meetings, you may not know this. If you do, then you're going to be super ahead of everyone else. In the upper corner, the right side of your screen is a little box that says view. You can determine how you would like to view. If you're seeing all of us in little boxes, you're in the gallery mode. If you want to specifically zoom in on the speaker, but have others along the side, if you will click the speaker tab, it will take you to where you can see the speaker and you will be able directly to look and listen to what they have to say to you. Otherwise, we're all going to be kind of in the gallery for the most part. So I'm excited to see all of you. You know, it may get a little hectic here, but I know, I trust, I believe that we're going to be able to get through this. We had over 1,100 register. So we know there is anxious folks, businesses out there to hear what we have to say. And we want to do that. So before we get totally into our program, we've got a few key speakers we want you to hear from. Now, although Secretary Cashwell is not on our agenda, I just want to make sure we know that she is on today. Secretary Pamela Cashwell, who is our fierce leader here at DOA. She is on with us today. And Secretary Cashwell, if you just want to take a peek and say hello, we'd certainly love for you to do that.
Okay, it wouldn't let me unmute. Somebody else is controlling things,
That's
obviously. Right. So good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Yep, I'm Pam Cashwell here at the Department of Administration, and I just want to give a quick shout out to all the partners who have helped make this possible. Our hub office, led by our fearless director, Tammy Hall, who you have met, and we have great partners at the Department of Transportation, their Office for Civil Rights, the Carolina Small Business Development Fund, and the Institute. You're going to hear from all of them this evening, and a lot of people have put a lot of hard work into getting this program ready for the third launch. And so I just want to say how grateful I am to them and how grateful I am to you all for being on. So we look forward to working with you. Thank you, Director Hall.
Thank you, Secretary. You know, nothing gets started or done if the leadership is not on board with us. And so we're excited to have Secretary Cashwell here with us and our other DOA leaders that are on with us tonight, because it starts at the top and they drive it all the way down. So we're happy to be here with them as we support minority and women-owned businesses. So Derek, I'm going to ask you to share a special message that we have at this time. So if we can unmute Derek and allow him to share.
It's almost ready. 1 second.
Hi, everybody. Governor Roy Cooper here. I'm excited to join you today to announce the launch of the third round of RETOOLNC funding for small businesses that have been impacted by the pandemic. Small businesses are the backbone of our state's economy, and diversity is a great strength for our state. When we have more diverse business owners, our communities, taxpayers, and our economy benefit. We know that many small businesses have been hit hard by the pandemic. Many of them came up with creative ways to adapt and survive, but they still need help. That's why I established RETOOLNC, a grant program designed to assist minority and women-owned businesses that have been disproportionately impacted by the pandemic. Tonight, you'll learn more about the criteria and how to apply for the funds. I encourage you to assemble your documents so you can be ready to apply when the portal opens. Together, we can emerge from this pandemic even stronger than before. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Governor. We are so appreciative for Governor Roy Cooper's support of the HUB program for minority and women-owned small businesses in general in North Carolina. As the governor said, we know these are the engines that drive prosperity in our communities. We get it. And so therefore we are excited to, as the governor said, launch again 3.0 RETOOLNC. And the governor gave you some attributes of the program. You're going to hear others, but the bottom line is the program is very similar to what we have been running in the past. We've added a couple of caveats, but more than anything, it's a business that is certified HUB or certified DBE with 50 employees or less, revenues of 1.5 million or less in gross revenues, according to your 2020 tax filing. So as Secretary Cashwell indicated earlier, we're also glad to have the partnership of NCDOT. We are very grateful for their work, and those businesses that are on with us today are disadvantaged business enterprises. We thank you all for joining us, and now we'll hear from my colleague at DOT, Tanya Smith.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome. I am Tanya Smith, Director of the Office of Civil Rights at the North Carolina Department of Transportation. Our office promotes and ensures equal access and equal opportunity for customers and employees participating in North Carolina transportation programs that receive federal and/or state funding. Our office enforces federal and state laws and regulations that prohibit discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, disability, age, and in certain circumstances, genetics, sex, and religion. We know the last 2 years or so have been difficult for all of us, and particularly our small businesses. Fortunately, we have a strong commitment and support from a wide range of partners, from the governor and the Secretary of Transportation to the Board of Transportation, senior leadership, cabinet agencies, industry, and community partners. This partnership is critical to achieve sustainable and meaningful progress. And so we are pleased that Governor Cooper established the RETOOLNC Grant Program Fund to provide grants, funds for small, women, and minority-owned businesses, for-profits adversely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Fortunately, this program has been funded for a third time, and you will have another opportunity to benefit from it. I am happy to join this information session to ensure that all disadvantaged business enterprise, DBEs, and historically underutilized businesses, HUB, understand the program eligibility and required documentation. As you may know, funds may be used for legitimate business expenses, including but not limited to working capital, lease payments, existing real estate, and equipment financing payments, and covering payroll shortage. We know these are real expenses that you must cover to remain in business. The Office of Civil Rights supports and serves small, women, and minority-owned businesses, and we value your contributions to our mission, connecting people, products, and places safely and efficiently with customer focus, accountability, and environmental sensitivity to enhance the economy and vitality of North Carolina. Please call on us to assist you in any way we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Smith. Thank you so much for your partnership always. We really appreciate that. So if we could go ahead and begin to unmute our next speaker, who is Mr. Kevin Dick. So let me tell you, many times we doubt the process. And I know as we talk to vendors day in, day out, sometimes you're suspect of the government. But what we know about RETOOLNC is that it is for real. It is what the capital that we believe you need to sustain yourselves in the midst of this pandemic. And just so you know, it's real. Many of you went through rounds 1 and or 2 with us. We were able to disperse with the great partnership of individuals that you will hear from next, over $21 million to historically underutilized businesses, disadvantaged business enterprises. Those are real dollars. And so we have been excited to run this program, first ever in government, state government, to run this program as a survival tool for each of you. So I am excited that we have Kevin Dick, we have KD and KP, Kevin Dick, Kevin Price. But right now you will hear from my friend KD. KD, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, my friend Tammy Hall, and good evening, everyone. I'm so thrilled to represent Carolina Small Business Development Fund this evening. I also want to thank Tanya Smith and her colleagues at DOT, as well as Governor Cooper, the state legislature, Tanya, all of your colleagues at NCDOA. It's been a fabulous partnership thus far, and we've been involved with Retool rounds 1 and 2, and very excited to be part of round 3. We dispersed funds in 2020, 2021, and now we are ready in 2022. And so Tammy has asked me to share applicant eligibility. What are all of the things that you all, as potential applicants for this program, need to know in order to be eligible and hopefully be able to comply with the program requirements so that you can apply and receive funding? So I'm going to list those eligibility guidelines. And as Tammy said, this session is being recorded. So if you have other folks who may be interested in the information, they will be able to access it. And there will also be frequently asked questions and answers that are provided subsequent to this session. So in order to meet all of the requirements to be eligible for a grant, First, a business must be an independent business located in North Carolina. The business must be for-profit, so not-for-profits are not eligible for this program. Franchises can be eligible if the franchisor is independent and locally owned. So those are important. The business has to have been operating on or before February 2019. The business, as Tammy said earlier, must be certified with North Carolina's Historically Underutilized Business Office, or HUB, or NCDOT DBE. And I should say, and can be certified in both places and be eligible. Businesses with 50 employees or less, as Tammy said earlier, also not with annual revenues not exceeding 1.5 million. You may not have any active bankruptcies or tax liens. You must not be delinquent on any North Carolina state income taxes. And there will need to be a detailed statement of how the business has been impacted due to COVID-19. It's very important. And of course, the business must engage in a legal activity. Businesses that can be included, the types of businesses can be sole proprietorships, home-based businesses, and independent contractors. And that is not an exhaustive list. It can be including but not limited to those sole proprietorships, home businesses, and independent contractors. Now, as I said earlier, nonprofits are not eligible for this program. Lobbyists are also not eligible. And finally, real estate investment firms, when the real property will be held for investment purposes. So in other words, real estate property management may be eligible, but not real estate investment firms. And so with that, I am going to turn it over to my colleague. As Tammy said, you have KD and KP. I'm going to turn it over to Kevin J. Price, the president and CEO of the National Institute for Minority Economic Development. And we are thrilled to partner with the Institute, as they're typically called, on this initiative once again. So KP, the floor is yours.
So we will give KP just a few minutes to be a few seconds to be unmuted. But if KP is not here, I know if we could unmute Roberta McCullough, she will fill in for him. So if we could unmute Roberta. Thank you, KD. That was a great job.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so very much. Thank you, Tammy, and all of your colleagues at NCDOA. I bring you greetings from our president and CEO, Kevin J. Price. We are excited to be a partner once again with Carolina Small Business and NCDOA in facilitating this grant fund. My task is to go over the documentation that will be required for this process. This time, there is one particular nuance in that there will be two categories of applicants. The first category will be new business applicants, that is, businesses that are applying for the first time. I'll go over those documentations first, and then I'll go over the second category. For those that are newly applying, you will need to supply a statement of how COVID-19 has affected your business. You'll need a valid, unexpired driver's license or some other governmental issued identification for all owners. That's owners that are 20% or more in your business. You'll need to provide us the 2020 business tax returns. We'll need your most recent bank statement. You'll need, as you've heard a few times this evening, a certified letter from the NC Hub office or from NCDOT confirming your active certification. You'll need to complete an ACH form with your banking information that includes your routing and checking account number and a copy of a voided check. The banking information that you supply on our web-based platforms, both for Carolina Small Business and ours, must match the bank statement that you provide to us. Funds will not and cannot be wired into a non-business account. We will also require a W-9 form, and those forms can be obtained from irs.gov site. And one other nuance is that by November the 1st, we are requiring everyone to provide us an impact statement on how the business has what the business has accomplished because of these funds, to include the number of jobs created or sustained. The other category is for those that have been previously awarded. And we know that there were quite a few of you all, and I see some familiar faces on this call. If you're applying for funds for a second time, you will also need your 2020 business tax returns. You'll need the most recent business bank statement. You'll also need to supply a certified letter from NC Hub or from NCDOT. You'll need to supply us a statement detailing how you used the previous funding and how you will also use the new funding. We'll need your ACH form with your banking information, that includes your routing and checking account numbers and a copy of a voiding check. Your banking information must also match the bank statement that you provide to us. And again, the funds that we wire will not be able to be wired into a non-business account. We'll need your valid unexpired driver's license or government issued ID for all owners on the application that are 20% or more ownership. We will also need a W-9 from you. And lastly, we'll also need by November 1st, an impact statement that shows the business accomplishments to include any jobs sustained or created. We know that was a lot. You will get this. It's on our website. It's on the documentation that was provided by NCDOA. And we look forward to serving you. Thank you so very much, Tammy.
Okay, thank you, Roberta. Thank you very much. So I see that our chat is extremely active, and I thank you for following the directions that I gave early on. I want to just really quickly mention that RETOOLNC funds have been made state tax exempt by the General Assembly. So I know we've had quite a bit of confusion around tax relevance. And what I'd like to do is just say is that the team has worked really hard to ensure that we've not tried to add tax burden, but we certainly have done our work with the General Assembly to ensure that taxes are not applicable on the state side. So that does mean that you will need to have conversations with your tax professionals around your federal taxes. So the tax exempt status, once again, is applicable for your state taxes. And I hope that helps to answer some of the questions that we had there. Really quickly, before we open this up for a few pressing questions that we may not have been extremely clear about, there were a couple of FAQs that I wanted to share. Team thought that it would be important to just share with you. One of them is, when does the online application portal open? So the portals will open on June 1st at 10 a.m. Applications will be reviewed and awarded in the order received until all available funds are exhausted. June 1st, 10 a.m. I think KD covered this earlier. Are nonprofit businesses eligible to apply? No, nonprofit businesses are ineligible to apply. Another FAQ that we thought was important to share: can I apply for more than one business? You may only apply for one business, even if that business has more than one location in the state of North Carolina. Applications which share a business owner or business name will be disqualified. Franchises are only eligible if the franchisor is independent and locally owned. So the bottom line of what I just said is one business, one owner. I want to make sure I covered some of the really high. So for those of you also that will need additional information that may not get or may not have received what our office sent, always go to our website. DOA Hub Office keeps up to date, very relevant information. You can Google North Carolina Hub, HUB, not HUD, Hub, HUB, and it will take you to our page. Also, DOT has relevant information. So please use our online resources to the best of your ability. And I think that will help you tremendously. Shay, if we can now add up the slide for our consultants that we have. DOA has worked very closely with the Hub Office to ensure from a technical assistance perspective, we know that there may be a need more than what we can provide today for you to have technical assistance. So we have done our due diligence to divide up your company name with a consultant. What I would suggest, if you have the ability, take a snapshot with your camera, your phones at this time, take a quick snapshot. We'll send it to you as well. But we've divided up by alphabet the consultants that will be able to help you. If you have technical assistance needs, if there's something you are not understanding, need clarity on, reach out to these consultants who are all on with us tonight. Thank you all, because I know it's evening hours. Thank you all very much. Reach out to the consultants. We will send you more information. Feel free to call our number that is affiliated with Retool Hub staff that's on. Please put our Retool direct line number in the chat as well. But for many of you that are within the alphabets that we've identified, please reach out to the consultants. They are ready to help you. They stand ready to help. We want to make sure that on June 1st, you're ready to go. You've got everything you need. You understand the documents being requested. So I want to make sure you have a picture of this particular slide. Thank you, Shay. Now we'll go really quickly into Q&A, questions and answers as possible. We'll try our best. So if you have a burning question, we can't all do it at the same time. If you raise hand, Gary McCants, I know you're on, you help me with the hand count. If you can raise your hand, we'll try to get to you. If not, don't sweat it. We will work with you regardless to get some answers. Okay, I think, yes.
We've got one, well, we've got several hands that are up. The first one I see is Nikki Curry. Nikki, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. My question was in regards to the bank statements. Do they need to be the previous 30 days for the business or within the current month?
Correct. Roberta, KD, I'll defer to one of you to answer.
Thank you. So we asked that the bank statement be the most recent monthly bank statements. So for example, if you're applying in June, then we would need your May business bank statement.
But it won't get out that quick. How can you want that?
So if you could mute yourselves unless you have a question to ask, please. Okay, thank you, Roberta. Thank you. And if
Next.
for some reason you do not have your May statement available, pull April. Let's just get, it says the most recent. So whatever the most recent is that you can get your hands on, let's do that. Okay, go ahead, Mr. McCants.
Director Hall, the next one up is, I want to pronounce this name correctly, Abiet Ungazula. You can unmute yourself.
Abiade Ogunshola. Thank you. I want to know if S Corp will qualify. And I also want to know if in the healthcare business where I don't really, I provide services, will I qualify for this grant?
Okay, so your question is whether you are an S corp and whether or not that would be an applicable business under this grant. And then I missed the second half of your question.
The second half is I provide services, professional services, like counseling to patients. So I want to know if this category will also fit into the requirement.
Okay, are you Hub certified or DBE certified?
OB certified.
You're Hub certified?
Yes.
Okay, then yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much.
We have a number of hands up, so I'm going to just call what I see, Director Hall. Next one is Mag. Is it Adam? Elam Technologies?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you. So my first question is, if I started business in 2019 as an independent consultant and then registered the business in 2021, I'm currently Hub certified and North Carolina Small Business certified. Do I qualify? And the second question is there a cost for the consulting fee, and how much would it be? How much should we be looking at to work with the consultants?
Those are great questions. No, the consultants are being provided to you by way of DOA in the Hub office. So no, there is no cost to the consultants. And the first part I'll try to answer, and Roberta, feel free to jump in. But the main piece of what you ask is, did you file a 2020 tax filing? So if you filed a 2020 tax filing for your certified firm, then I think that's the most important facet of what your question was.
So I filed like personal, and then I only started filing for my firm in 2021. So do I qualify or not? Because I was independent.
Yeah, I think they would need a business tax file. So you would have needed to include your business in your tax filing for 2020. Roberta, is that correct?
That is correct. And your business would have needed to start in 2019, before February 2019.
And Roberta and Tammy, to clarify, that's the actual business, not as an independent consultant. But the whatever entity was filing the tax return would have needed to be started on or before February 2019.
Thank you. Next question.
Director Hall, there's no name, there's a business, Classy Business, the CEO. If you can give us your name.
Hi, this is Miyaka, certified with Classy Business Consultant. I have a couple of questions. Just business startup date, I think we're getting confused about. If you are an independent contractor in 2019 and 20, and you did not structure until 2021, are you deemed eligible or ineligible if you file taxes in 2021? Second question is the letter of explanation for the COVID impact. Are we needing a letter of explanation for pre-COVID impact and post? Let's say we were awarded in last year, I think we got funding in last year. So of course we had use of funds. Do we need to give an explanation for both? Post pre-COVID and post-COVID once we got the grant funding? And then my third,
So let me try to bite off just at least a piece. We're in the midst of a pandemic now, so it's not really considered post-COVID because we're in the midst of pandemic. So it would be relevant now and then back to your previous award as well. I'll allow the team to answer your first question, but I think it's very similar to the question we just had relative to when you began filing taxes for your business. But Roberta, I'll let you chime in.
Sure, thank you, Tammy. So for businesses that are LLCs or S Corps, we're able to verify when the business was registered with the state through the Secretary of State site. If it is reflective that the business was registered only before February 19th, then that is the date that we would go by. In terms of if you had a business structure change, we'll have to take that offline as not to take up too much time. But in regards to your impact statement, for those previously awarded, you will need to give us a statement as to how the funds were used, and then also how you anticipate on using the funds that you're requesting.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Director Hall, next up, is it Cami Andrea or Andre?
Kami Andrea, thank you. Thank you so much. Quick question clarifying the delinquent North Carolina state income taxes. If your income taxes, if you're on the payment plan, is that still considered delinquent by your standards? Eligible, not eligible? What say you?
So I'll take the first stab and Roberta, you come certainly rescue me. But I think if you have a negotiated payment plan and you can produce that, I think that's valid, but I'm going to defer to Roberta.
Thank you, Tammy. Yes, I would agree. If there is a valid payment plan and there is not a tax lien situation, then we would be fine with that.
Okay, Director Hall, Tori Higgs. You can unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so my question is, in 2020 and 2021, I was denied because the return did not show any expenses. Being that I applied for 2020 and 2021, what path would I take since I'm kind of in between the if you never applied and if you've already applied and been awarded?
Okay, I'm going to defer to Roberta.
So if there are no expenses on your 2020 tax returns, we have no way of calculating what your grant amount would be. So it would be difficult and pretty much impossible for us to determine and approve a grant for you because it is based on operating expenses.
Okay, so in 2019, that was the first year of me doing my own tax return. So I did leave expenses off. However, in 2020, I learned and I did some things differently, and it does show expenses. Mm-hmm. So aside from that, now what do I do? I've already had the ACH thing and all of, I've already did like everything else. What do I do now? Once the portal open, where am I?
You'll need to just formally apply. And if you have never received it, you'll need to follow the guidelines for a newly applying business,
Great.
Providing us all the proper documentation.
That is absolutely what I wanted to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Director Hall, next up, if you want to take a couple more, CBK Branding and Consulting, you can unmute yourself. CBK Branding and Consulting.
Hello.
Okay.
Kevin.
Right,
Hello. Yes, this is Kevin Douglas, CBK Branding and Consulting. What is the maximum grant funding that's going to be awarded?
The max is 25,000. So anywhere from 10,000 to 25,000.
Okay.
Tammy,
Thank you.
if I could, I would add on to that. That it's it's 25,000 or 4 months of operating expenses, whichever is less. And that's so if 4 months operating expenses, Kevin, came to $16,000, that would be the maximum amount that you would receive.
That is correct. That's how we're calculating.
Thank you.
Okay, next person, Director Hall, Jeannie Morton. You can,
Good evening.
Good evening.
I applied for the retool grant during the last round, but when my application was completed, the funds had ran out. So I was wondering, do I have to reapply?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Be ready to go on day one.
Will do. Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay, next up, Director Hall, Aletta Taylor. You can unmute yourself, Aletta. Okay, there you go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. My question is, this will be my first time. I do not have the certification, so I know I've got to hurry up and get those done. And I already see in the chat someone's asking how you go about getting that, and can you get it real quick enough that you might be able to qualify for the grant. So I wanted to find out about that, but my other question I already had written down was, we have a nonprofit, and we operate a thrift store under the nonprofit that is a for-profit store. It is a DBA, doing business as, but it has the same EIN number as our nonprofit. So is the store going to qualify or not?
So let me try first piece, and then KD, you may want to save me here. But you do have the opportunity to become certified, and we will get that done as quickly as possible. So I would suggest go ahead, begin the process, and we'll work as quickly as we can to get through the process. Now I'm going to turn it over to KD for the other component of your question.
Okay.
So can everyone hear me? I've been hearing a few messages that I'm a bit muffled. So can you hear me?
We hear you better this now.
Yeah. Okay. All right, very good. Thank you. So Ms. Taylor, I think the second part of your question was whether you mentioned that the EIN was of the nonprofit and the for-profit were the same?
Yes.
Right.
It was
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and you know, I don't want to bounce back to you, Tammy, but I'm going to say that if you're a for-profit business that's certified, and you can, and the for-profit business has been in existence since February 2019, and you filed tax returns in 2020 and 21 under the for-profit business, then it sounds to me like you would be eligible, providing, of course, that you receive your certification, your HUB certification.
Okay.
So I think all of those conditions need to be in place. Set aside the nonprofit for a second. We know the nonprofit is not eligible. You need to have a for-profit business that has been doing business since on or before February 2019, and you filed tax returns in 2020 and 2021.
Well, the doing business as, we pay sales tax, but we don't file a tax return. We file something with the charitable licensing of North Carolina.
That sounds like it's not a business tax return. And you know, and if it's not a business tax return, or at least a Schedule C, I don't think you would be eligible. But you know, you might want to take anything else or any other possibilities offline. But hopefully, we've answered your question.
Okay, I just want to ask one other question. I don't know, it might be asking a question or answering a question, but if I listened to the young lady that said she had done the tax returns and she didn't have any expenses in the tax return. If say if she did have expenses, she just didn't put them on there and she files an amended return, is that gonna flow for her meeting the requirement to have a tax return filed?
Let's think for a second about the premise of the program. You have to have a COVID impact. So if you don't have any expenses, it's impossible to know if there was a COVID impact, right? And remember too that we're wanting to be able to see that you were unable to pay or expenses at the rate that you would have been in the past. That's the whole nature of a COVID impact. So hopefully that answers your question.
It does. All my questions have been answered. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, you've got the company here, Director Hall from Charlotte, last name Richardson.
Yes, thank you. Richardson's Logistics. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having this this Zoom, because I'm very, very new to all of this. My company, we have been in business since January of 2018. However, it's basically at a part-time, still holding down a full-time job. We have been breaking even, right? And we're seeking capital to go full-time. Now, would that reflect in what will be available? Because I heard you guys talk about its operating capital, like what you would have already made, or just to, give you that extra, month or whatever to continue business. I'm not hub certified. I have DUNS, EIN, DOT, I have all those good stuff, but of the information that you're giving now, I have none of it. I look forward to speaking to the consultants, but my question is, am I still included in this group of people that are welcome to apply? Because I've only been breaking even and, not really getting any profit and really losing. I lost a lot of money part-time. So now going into full-time, what kind of capital would be available to me? And am I still in the runnings to even apply for such capital? Thank you.
So Tammy, I'll answer that if that's okay. So if I heard everything correctly, we're not doing an analysis on your financials. The grant amount is based on your operating expenses from 2020. But even before that, if I heard that you were not, if I heard correctly, that you have not gotten your certification just yet, that is the very first thing that you should concern yourself with, either securing a hub certification or a DB certification from the Department of Transportation. Upon receiving that, then you can follow the guidelines of being a newly applying business and supply us with all the documentation.
Understood. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think I heard you mention, Ms. Richardson, DOT. When you said DOT, did you mean as a disadvantaged business enterprise through DOT?
Unfortunately not, just Department of Transportation, but thank you for asking that.
Sure.
Okay. Next question is from Winston Sharp. Winston?
Thank you. My question is brief. Will there be a transcript available after this meeting that we can refer to with some type of linkages to any type of resources that you guys talked about?
Absolutely. That's a great question. We will send out to all of the registrants of the webinar today. We will send you the information. I think we've already sent it out to all of our certified firms, but we will send it again. And we are recording, so the recording will be available on our hub website for you to review again, as well as please take advantage of the consultants that can help you navigate through the process.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I am hub certified. Thank you.
Good deal.
Lloyd's Air Conditioning.
Thank you. Director Hall, next question is from Shine P. Give us your full name, please.
Sure. Shine Paul. Good evening. So I have a question. So my I got HUB certification in October 2018, and I know that every 4 years I need to recertify. So can I submit the certification which was issued in October 2018, or do I need to get fresh certification for this grant?
That's a great question. If possible, I'd like for us to take that offline and let's have a conversation. So if you can reach out to me directly or reach out to Tracy. Tracy, I think you're on here. If you will send your email, if you could reach out to us directly, we'll help guide you through that process. The hope is that you would not have to start all over again, but we need to confer on how long and whether or not your data is still active somewhere in the system.
And second part of the question is, I didn't have any income in 2020. Am I still eligible to apply for this, though my business is still active?
So Roberta, KD, I'll defer to you guys.
Could you repeat your question, sir?
So I didn't have any income in 2020, though I had some expenses, but my business is active. Can I still apply for the grant, though there was no income in 2020?
That is a very good question.
Go
ahead, Kevin.
Sorry, Roberta. Did you mean there was no net income?
There was no income at all. There was no revenue at all due to this COVID impact.
Well, if you, I believe, one of the things you need to submit is a COVID impact statement. So if your statement, details why you didn't have income, and it can be tied to the pandemic, it would sound that if you could satisfy the certification requirement that you and Tammy will discuss, you should be eligible, as long as provided you can be certified and provided your statement, and we have evidence of tax returns in 2020 and 2021.
Thank you very much.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Mr. McCants, I think if we could entertain one more, and then we will need to bring the slide back for consultants so that everyone knows exactly who you can call to answer further questions. Go ahead, Mr. McCants.
Okay, Director Hall, you have, I think it's pronounced Sulu or Sulo.
Hi, this is Sulo Women. So I have the question on the eligibility part. So I just want to make sure, so if our company is eligible only when we are registered and HUB certified on or before Feb 2019? Because our business started in July 2019 and it got HUB certified in the year 2020. So are we eligible still?
You would not be eligible if the business was not active on or before February 2019.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we have back on the screen the information of the consultants and the alphabets that have been allocated to those consultants. Please take a picture. We'll also send it to you via email. Email us, we'll respond, and we will tell you who can help answer your question the best. I appreciate each of you being on with us tonight. And it is my hope that although we have not been able to answer everyone's question, believe me, it's not too late. We still got time. So we do want to entertain your questions. But at this time, I would like to turn it over to close out and for final remarks, our Deputy Secretary of Advocacy, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and DOA, Mr. David Elliott, if you are on board with us at this time, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Director Hall. This has been a great evening. I want to thank Secretary Caswell for her leadership at the Department of Administration. Director Hall, thank you and your entire team in the HUB office for all you've done, not only for tonight, but to support minority and women-owned businesses across the state of North Carolina, our partners at DOT, our partners in the RETOOL program, Kevin Price and Kevin Dick, and your organizations, and everyone who's made this possible. I know time is of the essence, but I did want to mention one thing to everyone I am putting in the chat as we speak. This is a separate program. This is not our program, but I did want to put in just to remind you that the Department of Revenue's Business Recovery Grant will close about the time that this grant opens. And that grant, we will not answer questions about that. They have their own resources, but I did drop in the chat that grant has funding that exceeds the amount of money that we're giving out, and wanted to bring that to your attention. As Tammy has said, there are consultants in place to help you with our process. We look forward to working with you. We hope these funds will help sustain your business and grow your businesses. Look forward to the partnership and continuing to work with you. And with that, I think we're done for the evening. But thank you, everyone. Again, thank you for all the folks who helped make this happen tonight. Have a good evening. Stay safe.